Designed by IzmoJuki Industries for MedaSurvivor, and based off the Pharos Lighthouse of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the world, this is SWA00 Megalopharos, with a new kit of anti-air beam, hurricane, hydro shot, multi-legs, and the leg ability of bullet charge, which buffs success and power of equipped shooting skills if you have more equipped than the target, and upon using a shooting skill, grants CG to the user. Now, Megalopharos was a rather unique case when it was first introduced in MedaSurvivor as an enemy, as a boss type model only, meaning it was not available to players except as a boss that they could fight at a certain stage. And this one was rather tough when it first came out as your first major team comp check, and much later on it became available to players as a model that they could pull for and collect. Now, finally with its own 3D model in MedaSurvivor, this powerful Lighthouse of Alexandria shows that it not only can be a shining beacon, but also a trap to lure in unsuspecting prey and drown them in the seas that it would use to guide people from. Double A beam, or anti-air beam, is a brand new skill being introduced, which simply explained is the effects of beam, which is an optic attribute skill with a double damage and a 30% charge, and a triple damage at 100% charge, but it also has an added effect of anti-air added to it, which means that if it's targeting anyone with a flight leg type ability or flight leg change type, it'll deal a massive amount of punish damage to them and very easily cripple, if not outright one-turn nuke them, just for existing on the field. And given that this also has an optic attribute to it thanks to beam, this now makes it the perfect counter 1-to-1 for anyone that is using darkness type leg abilities, such as currently Van Kerbat, who was introduced in the 6-year anniversary for Meta S, or even Full Armor X from the Rockman X collab as 2 great examples. And given that it does have the damage plus bonus on here with piercing, it does give it a little extra utility overall compared to standard beam. The only real concern here is the fact that your success stat in it is just barely 700, which means you are going to be hella blind, unfortunately, which, given what it's capable of, I think is a pretty fair assessment. But if you are able to catch someone in, say, something like Tornado to guarantee they don't move, this no longer becomes an issue. Hurricane on the right arm, and another brand new skill that Megalopharos is introducing, is a shooting skill that combines the effects of Tornado and Wave. Tornado, upon attacking the target, will convert their leg type to flying for a certain amount of clicks of the Robattle timer, and at the same time prevents them from being able to dodge or defend against attacks. So this means that the next hit that they're guaranteed to take is going to land, and it's guaranteed to be critical no matter what. However, if you do pair that off with anti-air beam, which he does pack for a head part, this is a very easy 1-2 finisher and nuker to put a very swift end to anything that you do come across. The wave effect that Hurricane does provide will also provide a 25% debuff to the enemy's heating and cooling, and also prevent them from being able to defend. So even after the tornado effect does expire and it does wear off, the wave effect will still be sticking around, which means any hit that lands is going to be critical no matter what, and they will be going slightly slower than they were before until the negative symptom gets removed. Hydro Shot on the left arm, and the last brand new skill that Megalopharos is introducing, combines the effects of Mud Shot and Blow Away. Explaining simply, Mud Shot, upon attacking the target, will convert their leg type to Sea Leg for a certain amount of time, and that amount of time is virtually infinite in a lot of cases, given that, unlike Tornado, which will expire after a certain number of clicks, Mud Shot, or the effect of Mud, does not. It'll stay that way, and the opponent's leg type will be staying as sea-based until attacked, which means that if you manage to catch them on terrain that sea legs are not very good at overall, Or, even better, if they are using a metal that sea legs are not compatible with by any means at all, you have effectively slowed them down to a crawl. And this means that you're able to use it in a way that you can use essentially as crowd control. If you know they're not going to be going very fast, it does buy you some time to prioritize another enemy and come back to them when you get the chance. The blowaway effect that Hydro Shot does offer allows Megalopharos to be able to push the enemy away from the command line, effectively stalling heating phases or accidentally accelerate cooling phases if you mistime it with bad juggling. But that is something that you can master fairly easily. Multi-legs means that Megalopharos will have fairly decent coverage across most terrains, focusing on fairly uneven terrains as a primary mastery, but the leg ability of Bullet Charge is also nice too, as having triple shooting means he's always going to be guaranteed to get that added effect no matter what, and extra CG on top of that will eventually feed back into anti-air beam no matter what. As far as leg stats are concerned, a base mobility of 863 is very solid and off to a very good start in the speed department, even if the multi-legs do tend to be just a little bit slower than biped legs in most standard degrees. An evade of 742 is definitely not great though, but given that this is designed based off of a structure and not a hero or a warrior or something, I suppose the lack of evade does kind of explain itself and justify it. However, having a melee resist of 1317 and a shoot resist of 2139 are both very impressive numbers though, as it means that this powerful lighthouse type will be able to weather any blow up close or especially from afar without it crippling him too easily. The armor department is even better in this regard. A head armor of just barely 5100, arms almost 4700 apiece, and legs just over 5200 means that this is a very bulky lighthouse and a very healthy one at that, which means you're going to be pretty hard pressed being able to break this one down and cripple it before it has a chance to really do anything. All this being said though, as a pure set score, I honestly have to rate Megalopharos a fairly middle-of-the-road 6.5 out of 10. Now, Hurricane and Anti-Air Beam can definitely synergize with each other extremely well, and even more so if you add Bullet Charge into the mix. It does mean that he has a limited number of shots that he can actually two-turn nuke with Hurricane and AA Beam. However, when he's not able to do that, he still does excel fairly solidly as a leg-type transforming enabler. So much like Yatsukubi Daija was to a degree, Megalopharos can be used as an enabler for anti-air or anti-sea based allies that possibly can use this in conjunction with him. Also, being triple heavy does mean that he is subject to anyone using gravity attribute skills, so do exercise caution if you plan to use this in that regard. However, given that he has one skill that has piercing and one with AoE, he is fairly decent in that regard, as he's not going to be bottlenecked too terrible when it comes to his overall damage. As mixed parts, I do have to rate him just a little bit higher at a 7 out of 10 for these same reasons. While again, Anti-Air Beam and Hurricane can synergize with each other extremely well, and Hurricane can essentially synergize with any kind of anti-air format in this regard, Hydro Shot can also synergize extremely well with any anti-sea type nukers that you may choose to bring with you. And while they may look rather short and stocky, the multi-legs with Bullet Charge are also very solid for any CG-reliant shoot nukers you choose to bring to the table, not only giving you a passive success and power boost, but a little bit of extra CG on top of that as just icing on the cake.